In a land where rivers whisper ancient secrets and the balance of nature hangs by a fragile thread, a billionaire's gold threatens to buy what no treasure ever could, the soul of the river itself. But one creature, wise beyond measure, stands between greed and harmony. This is the story of the crocodile who refused the richest gold, and in doing so, taught a lesson that echoes through generations. Along the winding banks of the great Zambezi River, where the water flows slow and deep, and the sun paints the sky with golden hues each morning and evening, there lived a crocodile unlike any other. This was no ordinary crocodile. He was known far and wide by the creatures of the river and the people of the nearby village as Kifaru, the wise crocodile. Kifaru was not just feared for his powerful jaws or his thick, scaly skin that shimmered in the sunlight like ancient armor. No, what made Kifaru special was his wisdom, the kind that comes not from books or wealth, but from years of observing the river, listening to the wind, and understanding the delicate balance of life around him. The river was the heart of the land. It gave life to the trees, the animals, and the people who depended on its waters. Fishermen cast their nets at dawn, children played along the sandy shores, and elders sat beneath the baobab trees telling stories of old. The river was a place of peace, of harmony, where every creature had its role and every life was respected. Kifaru lived in a deep pool shaded by towering palms and ancient fig trees. His home was a place where the water was cool and clear, and the river's current whispered secrets of times long past. The other animals respected him, the hippos gave him space, the birds sang songs that seemed to honor his presence, and even the mighty elephant would pause quietly when Kifaru basked on the riverbank. But Kifaru's wisdom was not just for show. Whenever the river faced danger, whether from drought, flood, or human greed, the animals and the villagers would seek his counsel. His advice was always wise, his judgments fair, and his heart full of care for the land and its people. One bright morning, as the sun rose like a glowing ember over the horizon, the village elders gathered by the riverbank. They spoke in hushed tones, their faces lined with worry. The river's water level had been dropping steadily, and the fish were becoming scarce. The crops near the river's edge were wilting under the relentless sun. "We must find a way to save our river," said Mosi, the eldest of the elders, his voice steady but filled with concern. "Without the river, our village cannot survive." As the elders debated, a sudden ripple disturbed the calm waters. From the depths emerged Kifaru, his eyes gleaming with ancient knowledge. The villagers fell silent, bowing their heads in respect. "Great Kifaru," Mosi said, stepping forward, "we seek your wisdom. The river is dying, and with it, our lives. What must we do?" Kifaru's eyes narrowed. "The river is not for sale. It belongs to all who live by it, the animals, the trees, the people, and the spirits that watch over us. No amount of gold can change that." The villagers listened closely, feeling the weight of Kifaru's words. The billionaire's gold glittered in the sunlight, but it could not replace the deep connection they had with their home. As the sun climbed higher, casting long shadows over the riverbank, the stage was set for a choice that would test the values of the village, the wisdom of the crocodile, and the true meaning of wealth. Would they accept the billionaire's gold and risk losing their soul? Or would they trust the ancient wisdom of Kifaru and seek a different path to save their river? The story was just beginning. The sun had barely risen above the horizon, casting a fiery glow that danced on the river's surface like molten gold. The village was still wrapped in the soft hush of dawn, but the air was thick with anticipation. Word had spread quickly. Mr. Karanja, the billionaire, had come with a promise that could change everything. From his grand carriage, polished to a mirror shine and pulled by horses as white as the clouds, Mr. Karanja stepped onto the riverbank. His presence was like a thunderclap in the quiet village, commanding attention without a word. His clothes shimmered with the wealth of distant lands, and his eyes gleamed with the hunger of a man used to getting what he wanted. The villagers gathered cautiously, their faces a mixture of hope and suspicion. They had heard stories of men like him, men who carried gold but whose hearts were heavy with greed. Yet, the promise of gold was a powerful lure in a time of hardship. Mr. Karanja raised his hand, silencing the murmurs. People of the river, he began, his voice smooth and commanding, I have traveled far and wide, and I have seen the struggles you face. Your river runs low, your crops wither, and your nets come up empty. But I bring you gold, enough to buy machines, build dams, and fill your granaries. Wealth beyond your dreams. He reached into a velvet pouch and spilled gold coins onto a carved wooden table. The coins caught the sunlight, scattering sparks of light like fireflies in the morning. The villagers gasped, their eyes wide with wonder. To them, gold was not just wealth, it was power, security, and a promise of a future free from hunger and fear. But Kifaru, the crocodile, watched from the water's edge, his ancient eyes steady and unblinking. The gold glittered, but to him, it was nothing more than a fleeting illusion, a shiny trap that could blind the village to what truly mattered. The billionaire stepped closer to the water, his gaze fixed on Kifaru. Great crocodile, he said, I offer you this gold in exchange for your loyalty. Help me harness the river's power. Help me build my empire here. Together, we can bring progress and prosperity. A hush fell over the gathering. The river, the trees, the very earth seemed to hold its breath. Kifaru's voice was deep and calm, carrying the weight of centuries. Gold cannot buy the river's heart, nor the spirit of this land. It cannot summon the rains or fill the waters with fish. What you offer is a treasure of metal, but it is not the treasure we seek. Mr. Karanja's smile faltered, replaced by a flicker of frustration. But with gold, you can have anything. Tools, machines, power. You can change your fate. The crocodile's eyes narrowed. Change your fate, yes. But at what cost? The river is alive. It breathes with the wind, sings with the birds, and dances with the fish. It cannot be tamed by gold or greed. The villagers looked from the crocodile to the billionaire, torn between the dazzling promise of gold and the quiet wisdom of the river's guardian. Mr. Karanja's voice grew sharper. You do not understand. The world is changing. Only those with wealth and power will survive. Join me, and you will not only save your village, you will rule the land. Kifaru's gaze hardened. Power without respect is destruction. Wealth without wisdom is emptiness. I have seen rivers dry and forests fall because men forgot this truth. The tension thickened like the humid air before a storm. The river's current whispered warnings, the birds fell silent, and even the wind seemed to pause. Then, from the crowd, a young woman stepped forward. Her eyes shone with quiet strength. Great Kifaru, she said, what must we do if gold is not the answer? How do we save our river and our home? The crocodile looked at her with a spark of hope. We must listen to the river, honor the land, and live in harmony with all creatures. We must protect what cannot be bought or sold. Mr. Karanja scoffed. Harmony is a dream. Gold is real. It builds walls, buys armies, and commands respect. Kifaru's voice rose like thunder. Walls built of gold crumble without the foundation of respect. Armies cannot protect a dying river. Respect is the true power. The billionaire's eyes flashed with anger. Then you refuse my offer. I do, Kifaru said firmly. Because some things are priceless. A sudden silence fell over the riverbank, broken only by the gentle lapping of water against the shore. The villagers felt the weight of the moment settle upon them like a heavy cloak. Mr. Karanja turned away, his face a mask of frustration and disbelief. You will regret this, he warned. Gold can buy anything, even the river's soul. Kifaru watched him go, the crocodile's heart heavy but unyielding. The river whispered its ancient song, a reminder that true wealth was not measured in gold, but in life, balance, and respect. As the billionaire's carriage disappeared down the dusty path, the villagers gathered closer to Kifaru. The river was still, but the promise of change hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. The crocodile's refusal had set a course that would test the village's courage, wisdom, and unity. For in a world where gold tempted many, only those who honored the river's spirit could hope to survive, and thrive. And so, beneath the endless African sky, the story of the crocodile and the billionaire's gold began to unfold, a tale of greed and wisdom, power and humility, and the eternal dance between man and nature. The river's gentle murmur was a quiet reminder of the life it nurtured, but beneath its calm surface, a storm was brewing. Kifaru, the wise crocodile, retreated to the shadowed depths of his pool, his thoughts heavy as the ancient stones that lined the riverbed. The billionaire's gold had glittered with a promise that was both dazzling and dangerous. It was a temptation unlike any the river had seen before. For days, Kifaru remained still, his powerful tail stirring the water only occasionally. The village was restless. The elders whispered among themselves, torn between hope and doubt. The children played by the shore, unaware of the invisible battle unfolding between wealth and wisdom, between greed and grace. Kifaru's mind was a tempest. The gold could bring machines, new tools, and riches beyond measure. It could build walls to protect the village from drought and famine. Yet, the crocodile knew the river's true nature, fragile, alive, and sacred. Could the glittering promise of gold undo centuries of balance? Could it shatter the delicate harmony between the people, the animals, and the land? One evening, as the sun dipped low and the sky blazed with fiery reds and purples, Kifaru called upon the spirits of the river. The elders had long spoken of these ancient guardians, invisible forces that watched over the land, whispering wisdom to those who would listen. Kifaru submerged himself fully, letting the cool water envelop him. He closed his eyes and breathed deeply, feeling the pulse of the river in his bones. The water grew still, and a soft glow shimmered beneath the surface. From the depths, a voice rose, ancient, echoing, and full of power. Great Kifaru, the spirit spoke, the river is your home, your heart, and your strength. The gold offered by the stranger is a test, a lure that can blind even the wisest. You must choose wisely, for the fate of the river and all who depend on it rests in your decision. Kifaru opened his eyes, now glowing faintly with the spirit's light. Spirit of the river, he replied, how do I protect our home when the world outside is changing? When men seek to bend nature to their will with gold and machines? The spirit's voice was like the wind through the reeds. Balance is not found in power or wealth, but in respect and humility. The river flows because it listens, to the rain, to the earth, to the creatures who call it home. You must remind the people of this truth, even if the path is hard. Emerging from the water, Kifaru felt a renewed strength. But the dilemma remained. The villagers were desperate. The crops were failing, the fish were scarce, and the river's song was growing faint. Could he ask them to reject the billionaire's gold and face hardship? Could wisdom alone save them? That night, Kifaru sought counsel from the other river creatures. The hippos, massive and serene, gathered in the moonlight. The birds, with feathers shimmering like jewels, perched silently on the branches. Even the shy otters peeked from their dens. The gold is a gift, argued Mamba, the crocodile's old friend, a sleek and cunning snake. With it, the village can build walls and machines. Why cling to old ways when the world changes? But Nyoka, the wise python, hissed softly, gold can build walls, yes, but it cannot hold back the river's spirit. Machines cannot call the rain or heal the earth. The animals debated long into the night, voices rising and falling like the river's current. Kifaru listened, weighing each word, feeling the pulse of the land beneath his claws. At dawn, the village elders came to the riverbank. They looked to Kifaru for guidance, their faces etched with worry and hope. Great Kifaru, Mosi said, his voice trembling, the people are divided. Some say we must accept the billionaire's gold to survive. Others fear it will bring ruin. What is your counsel? Kifaru's eyes met theirs, steady and unwavering. Gold is a tool, not a treasure. It can build or destroy, depending on the heart that wields it. The river teaches us that life is a balance, between giving and taking, between strength and humility. We must find a way to live with the river, not against it. But how? Asked Amina, a young mother clutching her child. The river is drying. Our children go hungry. Can respect and humility fill empty stomachs? Kifaru's gaze softened. Respect is the seed from which all life grows. We must work with the river, planting trees to hold the soil, protecting the fish, and sharing what we have. The gold may buy tools, but it cannot buy the river's blessing. The elders nodded slowly, understanding the weight of his words. The village was at a crossroads, between quick riches and lasting harmony. Meanwhile, news of Kifaru's refusal spread beyond the riverbanks. Traders and travelers whispered of the crocodile who turned down a billionaire's gold. Some mocked his stubbornness, others admired his wisdom. Back at the river, Mr. Karanja brooded. His pride wounded, he sent emissaries to the village, promising greater riches and power if they would only accept his offer. But Kifaru's words had taken root, and many villagers stood firm. One evening, as the sun set in a blaze of orange and gold, Kifaru stood on the riverbank, watching the sky deepen into night. The stars blinked awake, ancient and eternal. He whispered a prayer to the river spirits. Guide us through this storm of greed and doubt. Help us remember that true wealth is not in gold, but in the life that flows through these waters. May we protect the river, our home, and our future. The river answered with a gentle ripple, as if promising to stand with him. In the days that followed, the village began to change. They planted trees along the river's edge, cleaned the waters, and shared their catch more fairly. The children learned the old songs and stories that spoke of balance and respect. Kifaru watched with quiet pride. The path ahead was uncertain, but the river's spirit was alive in the hearts of the people. The billionaire's gold still gleamed in the distance, a shining temptation. But the crocodile's dilemma had become a lesson. One that would echo through generations. For in the dance between man and nature, it was not gold that held the power, but the wisdom to know what truly mattered. The golden sun dipped low behind the distant hills, casting long shadows that stretched like fingers across the dusty village path. The river, once vibrant and full, now whispered a mournful song, as if mourning the fragile peace it had long nurtured. But the true storm was not the drought or the silence of the fish, it was the storm of greed and ambition that had arrived with Mr. Karanja, the billionaire. Kifaru, the wise crocodile, stood at the river's edge, his eyes reflecting the fiery sky. His heart was heavy, for he knew the battle was far from over. The billionaire's gold had been refused once, but such wealth did not easily accept denial. It was a force that could corrupt even the strongest souls, and Mr. Karanja was not a man to be turned away lightly. As night fell, the village gathered beneath the ancient baobab tree. The elders spoke in hushed tones, their faces etched with worry. The children huddled close, sensing the tension but not yet understanding its depth. Suddenly, a distant rumble echoed through the valley, the sound of wheels on the dusty road, faster and louder than before. The villagers looked toward the horizon, where torches flickered like fireflies in the night. Mr. Karanja was returning, but this time, he was not alone. His carriage was larger, adorned with banners of gold and silk. Behind it followed a procession of men, traders, soldiers, and workers, each carrying tools, machines, and sacks heavy with coins. The billionaire's voice had grown louder, his ambitions more brazen. He stepped from his carriage, his smile colder, sharper. People of the river, he declared, I bring more than gold. I bring power, protection, and progress. Join me, and your village will become a kingdom. Refuse, and you risk losing everything. The villagers murmured, torn between hope and fear. The promise of power was intoxicating, but Kifaru's steady gaze reminded them of a deeper truth. Mr. Karanja approached the crocodile, his voice low but fierce. You still refuse? You defy me? This gold can build walls to keep the drought away, machines to till the land, and weapons to protect you from any threat. Kifaru's eyes narrowed, his voice calm but resolute. Walls built of gold crumble without respect. Machines cannot summon rain, nor weapons protect a dying river. True strength lies in harmony, not domination. The billionaire's patience snapped. Then you leave me no choice. With a wave of his hand, his men began unloading machines, loud, clanking contraptions that tore into the earth, ripping up the soil near the riverbank. The air filled with smoke and dust, choking the birds from the trees. The river's song grew faint, drowned beneath the noise of greed. The villagers watched in horror as their sacred land was scarred. The fish fled, the trees trembled, and the river's spirit seemed to wail in pain. Kifaru rose from the water, his massive form casting a shadow over the destruction. "Stop this madness," he thundered. "You cannot conquer the river with machines and gold. You only destroy what gives you life." But Mr. Karanja laughed, a cold, hollow sound. "I will bend this land to my will, Crocodile. And you will bow, or be swept away." As the machines tore deeper, the river began to swell, an angry, rising force. The skies darkened, and thunder rolled across the hills. The villagers fled to higher ground, clutching their children, their hearts pounding with fear. Kifaru plunged into the river, swimming against the rising tide. He called upon the spirits once more, his voice echoing through the storm. "Ancient ones, protect this river. Shield it from greed and destruction." The river answered with a mighty roar. Waters surged, swirling into great waves that crashed against the machines and men. The earth trembled, and the skies opened, releasing torrents of rain. Mr. Karanja's men scrambled to save their tools, but the river was relentless. The machines were swept away, the earth reclaimed by water and mud. The billionaire's golden banners were torn and soaked, his empire of greed crumbling before his eyes. Defeated but unyielding, Mr. Karanja glared at Kifaru. "This is not over. Gold can buy more than machines. It can buy men's hearts, their loyalty." Kifaru's eyes burned with ancient fire. "Then let your gold buy you wisdom, for without it, you will always lose." As dawn broke, the village emerged from the shadows, witnessing the river's triumph. The land was scarred but alive, the river's spirit restored by the courage of one crocodile and the resilience of a people who chose respect over riches. The villagers gathered around Kifaru, their hearts filled with gratitude and newfound strength. They understood now that the true battle was not against a man or his gold, but against the temptation to forsake their values and the sacred balance of their home. That day, beneath the rising sun, the story of the crocodile who refused the billionaire's gold became legend, a tale of wisdom, courage, and the eternal dance between man and nature. The dawn broke gently over the river, casting soft light on the village that had withstood the storm of greed and ambition. The air was thick with the scent of wet earth and fresh leaves, reminder that life, though fragile, always found a way to endure. The river flowed steadily once more, its waters clear and cool, carrying with them the promise of renewal. Kifaru, the wise crocodile, basked on the sunlit bank, his scales glinting like ancient armor forged by time itself. Around him, the villagers gathered, their faces a mixture of relief, gratitude, and newfound resolve. The battle had been fierce, not just against the billionaire's gold and machines, but against the temptation to forsake their values for quick riches. Mosi, the eldest of the village, stepped forward, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "Great Kifaru, you have saved us not only from destruction but from losing ourselves. Your wisdom has shown us that true wealth is not gold, but the harmony we share with the river and with each other." The villagers nodded, their eyes shining with understanding. Amina, the young mother who had once questioned how respect could fill empty stomachs, now held her child close, hope blossoming in her heart. Kifaru's gaze swept across the faces before him. The river gives life because it is respected. It is not a resource to be conquered, but a spirit to be honored. We must protect it, nurture it, and live as part of its flow. The children, who had listened quietly, began to sing the old songs, melodies passed down through generations, stories woven into music that spoke of balance, courage, and respect. Their voices rose like a chorus of the land itself, filling the air with hope. But the crocodile knew the challenge was far from over. The billionaire's gold still gleamed in the distance, a reminder that greed never truly sleeps. It was a force that could return, more cunning and relentless. That evening, as the stars blinked awake in the vast African sky, Kifaru gathered the village leaders. "We must build not just walls or machines, but a legacy," he said. "A legacy of wisdom, unity, and respect that no gold can buy or destroy." Together, they devised a plan. The villagers would plant trees along the riverbanks to hold the soil and bring back the rains. They would protect the fish and share their catch fairly, ensuring the river's bounty would last. They would teach their children the old stories and songs, passing down the lessons of balance and humility. Word of the village's resilience spread across the land. Travelers came to learn from their example, and neighboring communities began to follow their path. The river, once threatened, became a symbol of hope and renewal. Meanwhile, Mr. Karanja's empire of gold and machines began to crumble. His wealth could not buy the respect of the land or the loyalty of the people. His factories polluted rivers and poisoned fields, and his armies could not protect him from the growing unrest. One day, as the billionaire stood on the edge of a barren field, he heard a sound, a soft ripple of water and the distant song of children. He turned to see the river flowing strong and clear, the village thriving in harmony with the land. Kifaru's words echoed in his mind, "True strength lies in harmony, not domination." The billionaire's heart, hardened by greed, softened for a moment. He realized that no amount of gold could buy what the river and the village had preserved: their soul, their spirit, their future. Back at the village, a great celebration was held beneath the baobab tree. The elders told stories of the crocodile's courage, the river's spirit, and the power of respect. The children danced, their laughter ringing like bells, and the river sang its eternal song. Kifaru watched with quiet pride, knowing that the greatest victory was not in defeating a man, but in awakening a people to the true meaning of wealth. As the stars shimmered overhead, the crocodile whispered a prayer to the ancient spirits. "May this river flow forever, a living testament to the wisdom of balance. May the hearts of men and beasts alike beat in harmony with the land. And may the lessons of this day echo through all generations." The river answered with a gentle ripple, a promise carried on the wind. And so, the tale of the crocodile who refused the billionaire's gold became legend, a story told by firesides and riverbanks, a reminder that some treasures are beyond price, and that true wealth is found in respect, courage, and the harmony of life itself. The sun rose slowly over the horizon, casting a golden light that shimmered like liquid fire upon the river's surface. The air was alive with the songs of birds and the gentle rustling of leaves, a symphony of life renewed. The village stood transformed, no longer a place of fear and division but a beacon of hope and harmony. Kifaru, the wise crocodile, lay on the riverbank, his massive form basking in the warmth of the morning sun. His eyes, ancient and knowing, reflected the countless seasons he had witnessed, the rise and fall of empires, the ebb and flow of the river's endless dance. Around him, the villagers moved with purpose and joy. Children ran barefoot through the tall grasses, their laughter ringing like bells. Elders shared stories beneath the great baobab tree, their voices weaving the past into the present. The river, once threatened by greed and destruction, now flowed strong and clear, its spirit unbroken. The billionaire, Mr. Karanja, had long since departed, his empire crumbling under the weight of his own hubris. His gold, once a dazzling promise, lay scattered and forgotten, no match for the enduring power of respect and wisdom. Kifaru lifted his head and spoke softly to the gathered crowd. "This river is more than water. It is life, memory, and spirit. It teaches us that no treasure is greater than the balance we keep with the land and with one another." The villagers nodded, their hearts full. They had learned that true wealth was not measured in gold or power, but in the harmony that sustained them all. As the day deepened, a great celebration began. The village danced and sang, honoring the river and the crocodile who had protected it. Flames flickered in the twilight, casting shadows that danced like ancient spirits. The elders recited the old stories, tales of courage, humility, and the eternal bond between man and nature. Kifaru watched with quiet pride, knowing his role as guardian was far from over. The river's legacy was now in the hands of the people, a sacred trust passed from one generation to the next. As night fell, the stars emerged, brilliant and eternal. The river mirrored their light, a ribbon of silver weaving through the land. Kifaru whispered a prayer to the ancestors, to the spirits of the river, and to the future yet to come. May this river flow forever, a living testament to the wisdom of balance. May the hearts of all who dwell here beat in harmony with the land. And may the lessons we have learned today echo through the ages, guiding those who come after us. The river answered with a gentle ripple, as if promising to carry this legacy through time. And so, the story of the crocodile who refused the billionaire's gold became legend. A tale told by firesides and riverbanks, reminding all who hear it that some treasures are beyond price, and that true wealth lies in respect, courage, and the enduring dance between man and nature. Then, the unthinkable happened. A trusted confidant betrayed him, leaking sensitive information that threatened to topple his empire. The scandal exploded overnight, shaking the foundations of everything Alexander had built. In the aftermath, he stood alone, stripped of power, surrounded by enemies, and forced to confront the emptiness within. It was in this moment of despair that the true journey began. Long after the sun has set and the fires have dimmed, the river continues to sing its eternal song, a melody woven from the laughter of children, the whispers of the trees, and the timeless wisdom of the crocodile who chose honor over gold. This is not just a story of one river or one village. It is a living reminder that true wealth flows not from treasures buried in the earth, but from the hearts of those who cherish the land and each other. It is a call to listen, to the water, the wind, and the quiet voice within that knows the value of balance. As you walk beside your own rivers, beneath your own skies, remember Kifaru's courage. Remember that in a world often blinded by glittering promises, the greatest power lies in respect, humility, and the courage to stand for what is right. The river flows on, carrying this lesson through the ages, inviting all who hear its song to join the dance of life, where harmony is the true treasure, and every heartbeat echoes the wisdom of the earth. May the spirit of the river live within you, guiding your steps, and may you always find the strength to choose what cannot be bought. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the timeless story of why the crocodile refused the billionaire's gold. If you enjoyed this tale of wisdom, courage, and respect for nature, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more enchanting African folktales that carry lessons from the past into our present. Share this story with your friends and family to keep the spirit of these ancient tales alive, and tell us in the comments. What lesson from this story touched your heart the most? Remember, every story we tell is a thread in the rich tapestry of our heritage, so hit that notification bell to never miss a new chapter in our storytelling adventure. Until next time, may the river's wisdom guide your path, and may you always find strength in the story